Hello, everybody. If you're new here, welcome. This is my first ever Bible study stream. I'm feeling a lot of things. I'm feeling a lot of nerves, given these are obviously very sensitive topics in our world today. But it felt very heavy on my heart to get started, get the conversation rolling. And hello, JC. Nice to see you guys. It felt very important for me to just get the conversation rolling. There's a lot of dark and evil going on in the world. And yeah, I feel live stream, Twitch, it just feels like the best way to communicate to community, to get words out there right now. Hello, Ken. Hello, Alfredo. Hello, Seducing Taco. Hello, Jay. So yeah, I want to preface this by saying if you're just curious and you're joining, totally good. Everybody is welcome to listen. Feel free to comment and have opinions. I don't moderate my chat for a reason. There's obviously some pretty crazy things that are said in here, but I think it's very important for people to ask questions and be open. So that being said, we're going to get started. And I just also want to let you know that I made notes of everything that I wanted to talk about today. So obviously in a personal conversation face-to-face, I feel I can talk these topics super smoothly. But as I said, to be transparent, it makes me a little nervous. So hopefully that will subside the more often we do this. Okay, so essentially I wanted to begin this Bible study by speaking to Christianity and just how polarizing some of the believers can be, because I think it's a very important topic that we need to go over, because so many people that I have personally had conversations with have either been in the faith before or maybe they were thinking about it, but they were pushed away simply by the people who were associating themselves with it. So I want to say that it is one thing to have a personal relationship with God, and it's another thing to be religious. So yeah, to get into that from my notes here, I want to start with Romans 12:3. For by the grace given to me, I say to everyone among you, not to think of himself more highly than he ought to think, but to think with sober judgment, each according to the measure of faith that God has assigned. So, say you're a believer. This is what I take from that scripture. You can't take a non-believer and choose to judge them the same as yourself. You can't expect them to meet the standards that you're placing on yourself. And I think that's the first thing that so many Christians get wrong. Think about the people on the side of the road. While I think some of them have good intent, but they're sitting here, you're going to hell, those signs, they're really not helpful, and it is honestly very harmful. If anything, they're contributing to evil through that, because they don't know how many people that they're turning away by just really not doing their research. I wouldn't say that they have a personal relationship with God. I would say that they're looking for a power trip. So the next thing that I wrote here in my notes was this. God has assigned different levels of faith with purpose. Each person plays a different role. Each person has access to different gifts. And each person is going to live different lifetimes, and that's a good thing. It's good because this allows us to enter different rooms, to be able to resonate with different people, to have different experiences. And that's also why in the Bible we have so many different testimonies from so many different types of people. They come from all of these different things. You go from Job to Jacob to whoever. You read any of these testimonies, each one's going to be a little bit different, And that's so that we can resonate. Also, I see somebody just asked, is this pre-recorded? No, we're live. I'm flow state, and I'm doing the best I can. I hope we're doing good. Also, thank you for joining, you guys. Anyways, so the next thing that I put with notes is this. And this is the truth, and it's okay. People need to be okay with this. Many people in this lifetime are going to fall into the category of blameless. I would say that majority of people are not inherently evil. I think that people are vessels for both good and evil, though. So those who are blameless ultimately become vessels where there can be evil that's done through them without them knowing, which is obviously not good. But that's just reality. That's the reality of life, and also acknowledging the fact that we live in a very crooked, broken world. So nobody is perfectly good. And I think that's another stigma that needs to be spoken about, is this perception that to be a Christian means to be perfect. That's not the case. The whole purpose of Jesus was we had one man who lived and died perfect. It's not our job to be perfect, but that's also not to be confused with complacency or to not try to be the best that you can be. So next I have another verse here. And also, if you're not already, I suggest, if you want, maybe grab a notebook. This will obviously be on my page, so you could come back and reference if you need to. So I have two verses here. We have Philippians 2:14 through 15. Do everything without grumbling or arguing, so that you may become blameless and pure, children of God without fault are in a warped and crooked generation. Then you will shine among them like stars in the sky. And then the one that I have below that is Psalm 119:1. Blessed are those whose ways is blameless, who walk in the law of the Lord. So I'll just leave that at that. Take what you will from that. To be blameless is okay. We have to stop looking at people who fall somewhere in the middle and just automatically saying that they are evil, or that you're going to hell because you're not all the way on the spectrum of good. Everybody is going to fall somewhere. So next we have Romans 12:2. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. God did not design us to comply. God designed us to resonate. So just take that in for a moment. Everything that was just said, people oftentimes in the Christian faith, or just in the space, want you to comply, and that's what they're preaching, is that you have to do XYZ or else it's over for you. That's not what God wanted. God doesn't want you to come from a place of just complying. He wants it to resonate in your heart. And to get to a place of resonance is going to come with trials and temptations. And our choices determine if we should persevere and mature, if we can find that resonance. So, to get more into trials and temptations, when the source is God, it's a trial. When the intention is God and good, it's a trial. When the source is evil, it's temptation. When the intention is destructive, it's temptation. So, Your choices determine whether it's going to be a trial or a temptation. A trial, I love this line so much. I got this from a service that I was watching. A trial shows you the way through, and a temptation tells you the way out without going through. Let that one sink in. If you keep tapping out, whenever things get hard, the pressure cooker gets a little too hot, you haven't developed the perseverance yet in order to move forward, which means there's more work to be done. Another little note that I got here was the trial is the bell before the food arrives. And this goes so deep. Whenever you think about these things, it's not, you may notice it as significant struggles that you have in life. So whenever something really big happens and it's a lot, you may recognize that. Hey, him. All right, my cat wants to say hi. So, but this goes as deep as the smallest things. You begin to develop an eye for it, and you'll pick up on every little thing that is thrown your way. All right. Humans are naturally attracted to sin. It can come in the form of pride, greed, wrath, envy, lust, gluttony, and sloth. This is Hamilton, for those of you who don't know my cat. So the first step to stepping in your power is to recognize where you're being tempted and where you're falling short. So if you have a notebook out, you could just write down whatever you can't imagine yourself giving up. Something such as if you're a smoker, or you like to drink, or maybe it comes down to sexual impurities, whatever that may be, something that you can't imagine putting aside, okay? Write that down, and then from there you try to first practice. Just try one day without that thing, and then from there you take the time to obviously progress up until we get to a good point. Okay. I wanted to add these verses here. So Psalm 121, 1 through 2. I lift up my eyes to the hills. From where does my help come? My help comes from the Lord who made heaven and earth. And I also wrote down Isaiah 41:10. Okay. Hammy, do you want a treat? He just wants to yap. I should grab the laser. Okay. Isaiah 41:10. Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous hand. Okay, guys, be right back. I'm gonna grab the laser so that he's entertained. Write all of that down and give me 1 second. Okay, I got it. He'll be coming around. Okay. I love it. Okay, guys. Sorry, I don't know where I left off. Okay, so with Isaiah 41:10. There are so many verses speaking to God being the strength. And I know that I have a lot of male viewers watching, and something that really sits on my heart is I feel like men maybe struggle, I would say, a little bit more whenever it comes to pride. And whenever I say that, I mean that you guys want to take it all on yourself. No matter the mountain, most men feel that they have to take these things on alone. And that's just not the case. Many people in the world right now are taking these things alone because they haven't found their way to God. And you can live that way, but it can be very tough. It's very challenging. I also wanted to kind of touch, this one's a little funky. I wanted to touch, if you guys are open to it, a little bit into the Epstein stuff that's going on, because I think it's important to discuss. And I feel like it's being put out, like right now, the fact that so many eyeballs are on it, I think is actually a tool. So basically, if you don't know, what's being discussed in these files is babies being sacrificed, which in itself may be hard to process. Definitely is hard for me to put myself in that position to process it. But it's not that these people are just inherently doing these evil, unthinkable things. They are sacrificing innocence. This is where it comes from. And this dates back for a long time. They are worshiping false demonic gods, and they are sacrificing innocence, because the true currency of this world is purity and innocence. But people who fall into evil, they are doing this, and they have to do it through bloodshed. Okay? So they're taking innocent lives to try to gain power, these people are stupid. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm not sorry. Everybody should be able to agree with that. They're not thinking with the perception of eternity. The reason why I believe these people are doing such evil, detestable things is because they think that they can just keep getting away with it. And I think for years, they have been getting away with it. And I don't want to get too deep into that. I want to be able to sway the conversation away from the evil, because the thing is, it's good that people are becoming aware of this, but simultaneously, the focus is always on the dark and the evil, because it's shocking, it's attention grabbing, and people are interested. But they're not grasping on to the fact that this is ritualistic and it's spiritual warfare. This is inherent evil, and it truly exists in many different forms, whether it is people doing forms of witchcraft or whatever you want to call it. This is going on. But what people need to know is that whenever you tap into good, you are not even just as powerful, you are more powerful, because ultimately Satan lives under the feet. Like, it is not more powerful. It is in those who don't know what's going on that become susceptible to this. So the best thing that you can do for yourself is to study and inform yourself. And I can testify to this, that the good and the power that comes from the good is very real. So to touch on some of this, here's 2 Timothy 6 through 7. For this reason, I remind you to fan into the flame the gift of God, which is in you through the laying on of my hands, for God gave us a spirit, not of fear, but of power and love and self-control. So leading back to the conversation of vices and giving things up, I posted a video on my TikTok, and I was trying to be very palatable for people by using Harry Potter as a reference. That's like simplest, trying to break it down. In the same way that these evil people are using these sacrifices of babies and doing these horrible things, the flip side of that we really should be focusing on is the good. With Jesus, with God, whenever you sacrifice for God, you are sacrificing things that are changing your heart to make you pure, to make you better, to give you access to your gifts, to the power. So most people in their lifetime probably will not get to experience these things because they're not willing to do the work that it takes to access that and to get there. And maybe if they do, they may lose themselves to this desire of power. So essentially, where we're at right now, in simplest form, it should be very clear there's spiritual warfare, and we need people who are willing to step up and do the work ultimately. Otherwise, we are just stuck in this consistent rotation and cycle of hell. At least that's how it makes sense to me. So basically, what I just wanted to get across today for the first Bible study is fight the good fight so we don't stay stuck in a cycle. Do some more studying, do some more research. Try to practice giving up what is actually genuinely hard for you. Start there. I hope that this was informative. These are things that I've been wanting to get off of my chest for so long, and honestly, I've barely been tapping over into the chat because I'm gonna read through some of the stuff after, but through all of the other platforms, I don't know. I've heard stuff about like TikTok being taken over. I don't know. I feel like live stream here, at least on Twitch, it feels like I can speak freely without, I don't know, anything trying to quiet me down or bots or anything like that. So yeah, I hope the message got across, and I hope that you guys stay curious. If you're new here and you were just listening and you don't really know how you feel about anything, I want to let you know that that's perfectly fine. Don't let the people of, religious community steer you away, because ultimately people are broken, and that cannot be a full reflection of Jesus and who he is. The goal is to become more like him, but that's kind of the journey of life, is that we are working to become more like him. So not everybody is going to reflect that perfectly. Give people grace. Try to do your studies so that you can have better conversations with people. And it's to your advantage that you live a unique life and you are able to walk into different rooms. I think that's what I have. I want to share more information. I'm thinking today just happens to be Wednesday, and I feel like Wednesday is like the universal Bible study day. So perhaps maybe I'll see you then next Wednesday. And yep, I hope that this resonated with your heart. I hope you continue to do research. And that's all I've got. So thank you for tuning in. God bless all of you. Have a great day.